for context sake, I have a disability called dyspraxia, which isn't as readily diagnosed outside of the UK. So understandable if people haven't heard of it. But the short version is, it's in the same category of things as like ADHD, dyslexia, autism, and basically my brain sends signals from the left and right side a little bit out of sync.
Right.
So the result is a lot of coordination difficulties where the body just doesn't respond as fast or as accurately as it should. I have a lot of situations where I'll like try and exercise at the gym and it's say maybe supposed to like use something in my upper leg, and I'll do it and be like, wow, that hurts my back a lot. And the person helping me will be like, I have literally no idea how you're even doing that with your back. And I'm like, well, I can't get my body to figure out which muscle I'm supposed to be using. And it's just decided back for whatever reason.
Back's the one.
And that results in basically my mental stack being a lot higher when it comes to motion inputs. Because people are like, oh, if you rehearse it enough, eventually it's like riding a bike, it's automatic. I can't ride a bike either.
Right.
So, I'm like, I'm going to have to think about it every time.
Not a great example.
Every time. And the mental stack of having to manually think, quarter circle back, quarter circle forward, DP input, whatever it is, every single time is so high that it becomes impossible to enjoy what I'm doing because I have to think about it every single time.
Yeah.
And when this game came out, I was like, man, that looks pretty, that looks fun. I always thought these looked fun, but there's no way I'd be able to play that. And then I heard there was a demo, and I was like, well, I could at least mess around with the demo. That's pretty low risk. And then I heard people online complaining about modern controls. And I was like, oh, really? Tell me how much you hate this thing and exactly how it works. So I downloaded the demo, I messed around with Ryu on Modern, and it was like, oh my god, the special move comes out every time I want it to come out.
Right.
Like, I'm not losing to the CPU because I can't do the input. I'm losing because I don't know how to play Street Fighter. And that's a completely different situation to me, is, there's a huge difference between I'm losing because I don't know what to do, and I'm losing because I do know what to do and my hands don't cooperate. I say all the time, people will be like, oh, Modern is easy mode. And I'm like, Modern is easier on inputs. In what world is a fighting game entirely predicated on inputs?
Right.
Like, did you miss the part where you have to learn neutral, where you have to know the frame data, you need to know the reach of all your best pokes, you need to know the frame data on your opponent's options, you need to be able to read what is likely to be the best option in any given situation based on their previous behavior. Are they going to jump? Are they going to fireball? You have to understand your character's kit. There are so many other things that go into fighting games besides the ability to put in a manual Dragon Punch. And I wouldn't have been able to get to any of the things that are incredibly challenging and a constant opportunity for growth if I was still going, oh my god, I have to do the Dragon Punch input, I have to do the Dragon Punch input every time I wanted the Superman Punch to come out. Because that initial barrier was alleviated for me, I could get to the part where now it's like, oh my god, when am I going to be confident in neutral? When am I going to know when to go for parry versus when to go for a delay throw attack? All the other things that make up being good at fighting games. There is a degree to which I understand execution being hype in its own way. Like, if the Daigo parry could be done by holding one button, like parries are in Street Fighter 6, it wouldn't have the resonance as a moment that it has years and years into the future. So it's not that I want fighting games to be where nobody has to try, but to reduce the difficulty in getting to the part where you do have to learn the mechanics you can access, if that makes sense. I love storytelling. It's one of the things I have really resonated with about fighting games, I think, is that in an RPG, I get invested because I care about the character and their journey. And in a fighting game, I get to be the character and go on the journey. It's like, I remember thinking on my way to my first local, driving to my first local, like, I want to be the very best. No one ever was, except, like, you are the main character, and there's no Pokemon, it's just you. Like, you're the trainer, you're Pikachu, you decide where you're gonna go, you decide who your gym trainers are, like, what are the things you really want to beat to get to the milestones that matter to you, and the length to which you can go and the amount you can achieve is kind of down to you. But you get to create your own story of, like, that impossible Zangief moment, or the first time I made top 8 at a local, or the first time I didn't go 0-2 at a local, the first time I won a match on stream. That's all a story that I created, that I got to live. And that is what has really gotten me to keep going is, I name myself after my favorite main character. If you play fighting games, you're the main character. Right. You get to be your own main character. Like, it's all down to you. As long as you keep showing up, that story's not over. I have always been an ancient Greece, ancient Rome, and mythology nerd, so I saw the Spartan helmet and was just like, absolutely sign me up. And when it comes to female characters, I don't know if this is true of fighting games in general or just of my limited experience with them prior, but they tend to all kind of have the same body type. Like, you look at Tekken, and they're all just these little, like, wifey-looking things. And Marissa is, like, 6-something and huge. And it's kind of fun to have a female character with such a dramatically different body type than what people expect.
Oh, man.
As far as why she's fun to play, I think she's easy to pick up in terms of input. She doesn't have a lot of, like, weird combo buttons when it comes to, like, what she can do. She has a lot of target combos. And her special moves are fairly straightforward in what they do. It's also not like somebody like DJ or JP where certain strengths of a special move are like a feint and they do something totally different. What you see is kind of what you get.
Right.
And if you want to just jump in and do big damage and be a bully, Marissa is the way to do that. Between the armor, her having a command grab, the ability to charge heavy punches, the amount of damage that she shits out from breathing in your direction. If you want to just get in there and get right to the part where you get to hurt somebody a lot, then Marissa is a character that allows you to get in there and immediately kind of feel like you signed up to be Godzilla.
Right.
Because she just comes in and does her thing. You don't have to do set play like you would with the zoner. You don't have to worry about especially complex movement. You can't jump off walls like a Rashid or a Chun-Li. As much as you could complain about some of these things as negatives, like, oh, she's slow and she has a fairly linear game plan, that makes her easy to pick up and then find the nuances within that. When can I sneak in a command grab? When can I cut a combo short where you think you're still in the combo and actually you've been resetting, you get a command grab? Or what situations does the armor work where you would think it would? The Zangief challenge thing was the highlight of my year, one of the highlights of my existence, quite frankly. I watch, like, Evo, I watch CEO, and I see the way people go nuts during top 8 when their player goes up there. And that's something that has to be earned, you know? You have to be good enough to make top 8 at the major. And I'm not quite there yet, so I don't have a lot of situations where it's more than, like, 2 friends behind me, like, come on, you could make 4th place at the local. I don't have that level of hype, really, because I haven't made it far enough to warrant that level of hype. And then to have a situation where I did accomplish something that everybody else had failed to do, to trigger that much of a pop-off, and with arguably the best and inarguably the most famous North American fighting game player of all time in Justin Wong, who was visibly shocked that somebody actually did it, was really something else. And about 80% of that crowd behind me chanted like, "Fam Shep, Fam Shep." Those are people that kicked my ass at locals.
Oh, that's great.
Those are people that taught me how to get better at this game by beating me up for weeks and months, and have seen me work at it and claw my way up. And that's where I think a lot of the hype came from. And that made it more meaningful to me. Like, it wasn't just a bunch of people that walked in and were like, "Oh my god, somebody beat Zangief, that's cool." It was people that were like, "You can do this. I have seen you work at this. I have seen you improve, and kill him." You got this, kill him.
Yeah.
And that made it even more awesome. I literally, somebody got a photo of the moment, like, when I finally killed it, and Justin with his face like, and everybody like, I got that photo printed, and I have it framed next to the $20 from Justin, which I got him to sign afterwards. I still have to actually put it up on the wall, but I'm like, I'm gonna look at this every time I feel like I'm ass.
You got it.
And just remind myself that not only have I had moments where I played really, really well, but I have a lot of people that believe in my capability of doing that again. I have a secret project, which, feel free to sing to the tune of Secret Tunnel from Avatar: The Last Airbender, that I can't really talk about yet, but my guess is a few weeks from now I will be able to. And that's the thing I'm most excited about. I think it's something that's going to make me even more visible in the fighting game community than I was after the Zangief video, which has already been insane. Like, I went to Red Bull Kumite on the main event on Sunday, and no less than 8 people that I did not know went, wait a minute, are you FemChat from that Zangief video? Like, incredibly trippy. And I anticipate that happening more after this project gets to launch, and hopefully having more opportunities to practice with high-level players, to be given opportunities to maybe attend more events. You know, it would be awesome if I wound up sponsored someday. I'm not good enough right now to like get sponsored because I'm gonna win Evo. Like, I'm not delusional. I know that's not happening anytime soon. But I have had enough of a journey and an advancement and a level of dedicated improvement, and people seem to resonate with my excitement and my personality. Like, if I get sponsored, I'm not going to win Evo, but I'll make your brand look good at Evo, even if I go 0-2. Because I'm having a great time, and I'm there to support everybody else having a great time, and I'm trying my damn hardest. So getting sponsored would be really, really cool. But in the meantime, on a more granular level, I'd like to win a local finally. I'd like to stop choking. On my ceiling so far, if I have a really good day at a local, I go 3-2. Then it gets to game 4, and I'm like, it's happening! It's happening! I had a choke. It's never happening. Yeah. And often it's something that I think was winnable, but I get in my head about like, oh god, it's the time again. The bell is tolling. It's time for me to go home.
Yep.
And that I choke. I want to break through that 3-2 ceiling, and I'd like to win a local at some point, finally.